Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of God.
You're welcome to sing it, Ben. There we go.
Yeah, I don't need to. You
No?
got Melzy for TikToks.
I was going to say, well, you could literally pour some sugar on me, mate.
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Just make sure it's monk fruit sugar because I'm trying to cut back.
I don't need any sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is.
I reckon we just jump straight into it. It's another week of Good Movie Monday.
Woohoo! Yeah!
Sorry. I didn't know we were starting yet.
I thought we'd already started. No, we just got to meet in the middle.
We are the weekly movie podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. Melissa Begg is back on the show. Hey, Mel.
Woohoo! Hi.
How are you?
Good. It's been a long month.
It has. It's been a 5-week month. I don't like those.
No, it was terrible. It's nice to be back.
Excellent. Benjamin, it's always a pleasure for you to be with me. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you.
Who's going to introduce me? I'm Glenn.
And there's who else? Who's the other guy on the show?
Guy that rocks up. I don't know.
Happy Monday to all of you, whatever day it might be, actually. You could be listening to this, I don't know, maybe Wednesday the 6th of February 2036. I did
wow.
check the future calendar.
That is the day. You've written it down.
Integrity, mate, integrity. For the benefit of all you new listeners, because we do have some new listeners, I know that for a fact. The show is all about movies.
We haven't even recorded the show yet. How do you know that we've got new listeners?
You can see into the future.
Like,
oh my god.
if they listened last week, they're not new this
Yeah.
I told you I looked at the future calendar.
Okay, yeah, got us. Yeah.
So what we do on this show is we recommend movies. Every episode we have a theme, and then we give you some suggestions that you should watch. And if you want to be a super fan, then you'll watch them and join us on social media and tell us what you think. And we make it easy for them, Ben, because they can find it where?
Letterboxd.
Letterboxd. What is Letterboxd?
Letterboxd is a great, it's like a film review site, I guess, for people who think that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok aren't enough.
Yeah. It's a catalogue too, isn't it?
It's a good catalog. We use it for listing purposes. I was, as is always the case, I think for the first 3 months of the year, I kept track of every movie I'd watched this year. So when we do our top 10 at the end, I can go back and go, I did watch that movie. I have stopped.
I've fallen off that train too, I'm afraid.
So there's a lot of movies I've completely forgotten that I've seen.
I can't remember movies I watched last night. Like, that's how bad it gets.
I can tell you movies I watched last week. I can't tell you what I watched yesterday.
Yeah, we're fucked today.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
That's it.
But this week is all about body parts. Have you figured out why we're listening to Pour Some Sugar on Me?
No, I have no idea.
Def Leppard's drummer only has one arm. Body parts, like... Yeah, okay, well, didn't get the reaction I was hoping.
You should never expect.
I thought I was being
anything.
clever. Because I was going to do, Heads Will Roll by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
I only changed it today. Like, come on.
Well, I would have gone crazy over that one, but anyway.
I thought, no, I'll be cheeky and I'll be clever, but oh well.
The sad fact is if it's not a song by Jean-Paul Young, I've never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I also love the way that you say Jean. It's
Jean.
like
I was
Jean.
like,
Is that Jean-Paul Young?
Jean-Paul Young. Jean-Paul.
No.
It's French for John Paul.
But we're talking about body parts. Movies that feature either body parts actually or figuratively. I guess a movie like The Eye, for example, is about body parts. Is it pushing it to say Freddy got fingered? There's fingers in the title.
I suppose if the movie was all about what actually got fingered.
Interpret as you will, I guess, as always the motto.
He does jerk off some horses in that film.
There's a body part.
There's a body part of a
That's
horse.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Counts.
There's a bare rip torn ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. There we go. And even something as wholesome as Dumbo would qualify, because that's about ears.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Put some thought into this.
Yeah, you
Family
really.
Feud.
It's like you've really thought outside the box.
And the reason for this week's theme, it all revolves around you, Melzy, and your return to the show. Another Melbourne Horror Film Society month screening of a body horror, not a body horror film, but a body part movie.
Body part, yep.
It's the 1981 psychological horror film, The Hand.
Yes.
When's that screening?
So it is screening on Tuesday, June 28th.
Excellent.
At Long Play in Fitzroy North. It's the second of 3 Severed Hand films.
Excellent. And we didn't get to cover the first one
Yeah.
because of that long month.
Yes.
It was a skip month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was that?
The Hands of Orlok from 1924.
How'd that go?
It was really good.
Yeah, good turnout.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Awesome. So The Hand is the next one coming up, and that is the reason for today's theme. To tie it all in together, I do like to try and reach out to as many guests for your screenings as I can to interview. And today's guest, I'm excited because it's Andrea Marcovicci. Did I get that right, Ben?
Yeah, I don't know.
And she starred alongside Michael Caine in The Hand, so that's a real treat. And it's funny because we've got this episode all about sort of mostly, I'm going to guess, horror-ish kind of movies. You know, I've got a gory one.
Yep.
And yet our interview is like the nicest, most
But
placid woman
what's
ever.
the movies that you're talking about?
I'll get to that later. You want my recommendation?
No, sorry, because you said I've got a gory one. I said, yeah, but what are them?
Far out.
It's an evening of explaining jokes tonight, and then watching as they fail.
Hang on a second. Anything else Horror Film Society related that you want to talk about? We will come back to it though.
Okay.
No.
But I was actually just thinking then when I looked down at my notes, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is actually our next screening at True North on Saturday, June 25th. And it is quite body part related as well.
That's a banger.
Body parts being hacked off
I was
and,
gonna say,
and
people get
whatnot.
put into the wood chipper.
Yeah,
That's great.
that is exactly where my head went
Yeah.
straight away as well, the wood chip. Yeah, so...
Awesome. And there's a long rumoured sequel to that coming as well. I don't know if it's
Yes,
happening.
actually,
but
yes, I have heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale versus Good,
Maybe.
maybe.
They are so wholesome.
They're just nice guys. They're just a couple of nice guys,
so
misunderstood.
sweet. Oh.
And just for the benefit of people that switch off before we get to the next Melbourne Horror Film Society conversation, where can they find it?
So our website is melbournehorrorfilmsociety.org on all the socials, and we also have a Discord channel.
Excellent. And anyone can become a member, yeah?
Anyone can become a member. Anyone can show up.
That's it.
What's going on over there, Ben?
No, I'm thinking about how I don't want to go to the screenings because they've accepted me as a member, and I don't want to be part of a club that would have me.
I was literally about to turn around and go, anyone can turn up, Ben. And I heard a rumour that you may be coming to this next screening.
Maybe.
Might help
I
us
heard
with
a
that one.
rumour that you might be coming at that next screening.
Look at everyone turn up in droves. So it'll be like 5 of
They
us.
don't call him Ben Longplay for nothing.
I'll be signing autographs.
With
I can do 3 at a time. Well, it's like a baby's arm. I've just taught that baby how to write.
Oh my god. All right, moving on.
I wasn't sure if you did it with it or if you wrote in it with your finger. So I'm glad that we had that clarified.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So coming up in about 20 minutes or so, Guillermo Troncoso from Screen Realm is going to come along with the movie news from the past week. Then later on, the Bonehead Weekly guys are going to be talking about some of their favourite body part movies. And then, of course, there's Jarrett, who's still on holidays and may or may not phone it in. I don't know. We'll have to
What a bastard.
find out.
God, so jealous.
Yeah, Ben.
He's hanging out at the Brady Bunch house. He's got no time for the likes of us.
Let's talk about giveaways.
Ooh.
Dead End DVD have given us another tasty Blu-ray to give away, Cujo. Yes, and this one is it's as easy as going to goodmoviemonday.com and answering a simple question, and you're in the draw.
How simple is the question, Glenn? Real simple?
It's simple.
Ben simple?
It's just an opinion we ask of you.
Oh, and everyone, like arseholes, everyone's got one of those.
Right.
Can't be wrong.
And while people are at it, they may as well hit up deadenddvd.com and do some shopping of their own. That's a pretty awesome website.
It's pretty amazing. They've got some great stuff. They get all the new imports. They parallel import, which is my favorite kind of importing. And they're very, very price
What happens
competitive.
when you add something to your basket but you don't actually check out? Like,
They know.
Yes, I better empty it.
They know who you are. They know what you've picked, and it's on
I
some.
might be logged in as a guest.
I don't know if the Dead End DVD back end has this option, but on the Monster Pictures back end, you can send them out you can. Like,
Don't
hey,
forget.
did you forget something in your
Here's what you were just
in your
looking
treat?
at.
Maybe you also wanted this, this tube of lube, stuff like that.
For the next Melbourne Horror Film Society
Yeah.
screening.
we've got Monster Lube. We've got some Monster Lube with your name on it.
And that's probably a good
Ben wrote it.
Sign.
good way to throw to Jared, I reckon.
Yeah.
After last week, Jesus.
Hey, this is Jarrett and welcome to PE class. If I sound a little bit strange, it's not COVID, it's because I'm lying down as I record this because I'm on holidays still and I'm not back till sometime in June, so you won't get a proper segment out of me until then. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that I'm overseas and the state of physical media in stores is scary. There's less and less stock being shelved in stores. They're basically directing their customers to their online websites to order titles. So if this is any indication of what we can expect in Australia, it's dire straits. Anyway, that's it for me for now until I return from holidays. So until then, stay physical.
He's still no use to us, Ben.
So, I was just I was being a little inappropriate and staring at Melzy's notes.
I just saw the horror on
I
your
just
face.
looked at them,
The
like
side
her
eye.
extensive notes.
I thought there was I missed something.
Something that,
They're
no,
big notes.
yeah, big notes. Trying to get as many double entendres in there as I possibly could. But I was legitimately looking at her notes.
They are big.
They are.
They're large. They're very large. It's actually ridiculous.
Her buxom notes. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Jarrett.
Still no use to
Still,
us.
no.
I guess we're gonna have to cover some new releases this week.
Sweet. I love new releases.
It's a very light. There's a lot of new releases coming out, but nothing major. So it's a lot of little titles, a lot of back catalog kind of stuff. There's a cool Umbrella double pack coming. Bruce Willis double with Sunset and Blind Date.
Which I have to say I'm a little upset about because I fucking love Sunset.
I know, that's why
I think it's a great film.
I thought I'd do it
Blind
first.
Date's actually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
I was like, these deserve their own Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Only because when they're in doubles, I find it impossible to figure out where to put it in my collection. Is it under Sunset or is it under Blind
Well,
Date? What if I'm looking for the
yeah.
other one?
Well,
I
they're
don't know.
hoping you go numerical with the volumes.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or I buy two.
Yeah.
So I can put one in each. That's the trick, folks.
Yeah.
Where they
Well,
get
that's it. I've got a double pack of The Crow and Spawn I used to on DVD. It's like, do I put that at the end of the alphabet or at the start of the alphabet?
So which knowing you and your taste in movies and thinking which one are you more likely to watch on the repeat? Spawn.
No. But that's where I put it. Because I already have an individual copy of The Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
you want to keep all your Michael J. White movies together.
Oh, that's right. Exactly. Well, that's a John Leguizamo thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Irrelevant. Paul Verhoeven's Vendetta is also coming out this week.
Oh, the lesbian nun movie.
It is the lesbian nun movie. I haven't
who-
seen it, but I'm up for it.
Who in the world is better suited to directing a lesbian nun movie than Paul Verhoeven? I can't think of anyone.
Nope.
Like maybe David Dakota, but it'd be a completely different kind of film. Or Fred Olen Ray.
Yeah.
Or Jim Wynorski. Jim Wynorski would do a credible job if it was 1984.
Yeah, but they'd also have machine guns if he did it.
Yeah. And there'd be a frogman in there somewhere.
Yeah. There's a really cool looking one called Corrective Measures coming out. That's an Umbrella release too, I think. And that's Bruce Willis and Michael Rooker.
Oh, I have seen this one.
It's a prison movie with aliens and stuff that are
Oh, well, they've all. It's like a
Mutants.
It's like a superhero or a super powered prison.
yeah.
They all have powers, and while certain powers are negated by these devices that
Yeah.
they wear, Not all of them are, and then all hell done breaks loose.
So I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, conceptually, this looks amazing. I'm thinking it's probably not. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll probably watch it anyway. It just looks really C grade.
I don't know if it's going to be one of Bruce's last.
He's got a couple. He's got a couple
films coming out,
but they've been in the bank for a little while. I think
Yeah.
a few of these. So
And fair warning, Bruce Willis. I think he would have been there for a day or two.
yeah, I felt like whatever is in the trailer is about the sum of it.
But the main guy's pretty cool. The effects and stuff are great. There's
Yep.
a couple of big brawl sequences that are amazing.
Cool.
There's one guy who you think is a main character but isn't a main character but it still gets a lot of screen time. He's pretty good. I don't know his name. He looks like a Ray Stevenson. He's a Ray Stevenson type.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
the janitor from Scrubs. Like if those two got together and had a baby. That's the guy.
How about Miami Connection? That's coming out.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
Friends for eternity. Loyalty, honesty. It's got the soundtrack on it, which is a big win.
Oh my goodness! And that screened at Monster Fest.
It certainly did.
Was it the Weekender?
Yes.
And you created the most delicious standee for that movie at the festival.
Well, we can't take any credit for that. It was Umbrella created that
Yeah,
lovely
did they?
standee.
Oh, it was great.
And it was very tempting to try and steal it. If it wasn't bigger than me, I would have stolen it.
Well, it was a bastard stand up, wasn't it?
It was. It was. You had to show me how to do it. It's like I'd forgotten everything I ever learnt at the video
I
store.
was going to say
how to put up
flashback to the
standees.
video store days for sure.
And we put that up, yeah.
And of course, Shutting comes out this week through our friends at Eagle Entertainment, and that's the new Dalla Sonia film. We're particularly excited about this one because next week our guest is Dalla Sonia, the guy who produced it. He's also the guy that produced Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99, Dragged Across Concrete, amongst many others. And yeah, this is a good film. It's directed by DJ Caruso, the guy that did Disturbia and Eagle Eye and a few others.
Is it what's her name's daughter too? Angie
Oh, yes, McDowell.
McDowell.
Yeah.
Andy McDowell's daughter, Margaret Qualley's sister,
Yeah.
and Vincent Gallo, the man who sells his jizz on the internet.
That's right. And it is, the most outrageous performance ever, as you can imagine.
I literally cannot wait to see this. Actually,
Yeah,
I-
it's good.
I really want to see that other one, the Western. Was it the Western?
Which
No.
is coming out. That's Terror on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just been released online in America, I think, because it's part of the Daily
Sweet.
Wire thing where
Yeah.
you've got to be a subscriber. But Eagle are going to be putting that out in a couple of months' time.
Excellent.
And no doubt we will have some to give away. So anyway, that's next week. Dalla Sonia on the show talking about that movie. And that about covers us for new releases this week, Ben.
Fantastic. I'm exhausted from that PE class.
Good. Melzy,
Yes.
would you like to kick us off this week?
I'd love to.
Fire at will. What kind of what are we talking about?
Body parts?
Body part
what,
movie.
body parts.
what body part have you chosen?
What member are we talking about?
Okay, well, actually, so I'm going to start off with May. So May is the Underseen 2002 film written and directed by Lucky McKee, who did The Woman and All Cheerleaders Must Die, which I also love. And I say Underseen because I have also spent the last 20 years saying, I really need to see that, and finally just watched it this week
I was
ahead
about to
of the
say
podcast.
it's not underseen at this desk.
Yeah, no,
Um,
well, yeah,
well,
this third.
well,
at what it,
half of it. Well, now I'm the only one who hasn't seen it. I've never seen
oh,
it.
haven't you seen
Okay,
it? Well,
well,
see, there you go.
I
There
retract-
you go, Glenn.
I've had it. I bought it like for $30 on new release DVD
All
when
them
it came
years
out.
ago.
Haven't seen
It's a
it.
banger,
Well,
mate.
Ben, let me tell you about it.
Yeah. I know it's got.
Let me
I know
push
it's
you
got
over the line with
Angela
that.
Bettis in it.
Yes, so Angela Bettis, she plays the main character of May, and she's so perfect in it. She's socially awkward, and that's an understatement. She grew up with a lazy eye and had a pretty shitty childhood, and we get glimpses of the trauma inflicted by her mother, who was focused on perfection and being perfect. And this pressure results in May hiding parts of herself, repressing and withdrawing from the world. For one of May's birthdays, her mother gives her a doll named Susie and tells May, if you can't find a friend, make one.
Mm-hmm.
When we meet May as an adult, she's working at the local animal hospital with receptionist Polly, played by Anna Faris. I really love Polly, and Anna Faris is so good in it. She's a bit of a ditz, but really quite sweet. She's hooking up with all of these hot women. It's
When
really
is she not a
great.
ditz?
Like, yeah, but she's
But
so
it,
great.
it was.
in
I think it was her breakaway from Scary Movie. This
Yes,
one. Yeah.
yeah.
Caught looking at the notes again. There.
Yeah. like,
It was-
don't be so obvious about it. I'm going to teach you guys some things, hey?
I just figured that no one ever sees me looking at their notes. I thought I was really good at hiding it.
I put my notes on the desk for you every week, and they.
I'm just not interested in your notes.
So May's doll Susie is clearly still her best friend and really only friend. And one day on her lunch break, she sees a mechanic named Adam, who's played by Jeremy Sisto, hottie from back then. And May quickly, now of course, and May quickly becomes infatuated him and with his hands in particular. Flash forward after a pretty hilarious meeting between the two. May and Adam start seeing each other. He seems like he may be a good fit. He's into the macabre and he says he likes gross, weird things. And he also makes pretty gory short films. But once they start getting physical, May finds out that he's not actually into her kink after all, and he goes running. And it's actually probably not even really May's kink, but she's just reflecting back to Adam what she thinks he wants and then can't understand why he's not into it. From this point, May has repeated attempts at trying to get close to people around her, all of which are unsuccessful. And she eventually goes the route that her mother suggested, to make a friend herself.
Excellent. And this is a great film. I always saw it as like a contemporary Carrie kind of movie. Like
Yes,
it's very similar.
For sure.
Meets Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's so great.
And it put Lucky McKee on the map. And he never really saw his full potential, I don't reckon. Like, All Cheerleaders Must Die is about as big as he got after that. But
yeah.
I love the guy. Like,
yeah,
fantastic.
same.
What a debut.
Yeah.
You have to see it, Ben.
I do. I've met Lucky McKee, so I should have seen
Is
it.
he a nice guy?
Yeah.
He's not listening.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine. I don't think I didn't really have too much in the way of conversation with him or Pollyanna McIntosh, but we brought them out for MIF when we released The Woman.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Way back when.
Yes.
And his dad. His dad came out as well.
Really? Is his dad involved?
I think his dad helps out on the set and stuff
Okay.
like that. He does stuff on the film, but
Carries his bags.
he signed our poster. His dad, Lucky, Pollyanna, and Lucky's dad signed our poster.
Just devalued the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. He might have big things in store, Glenn.
I don't know.
He's about to hit his.
He's about to make his directorial debut
yeah.
in August.
Got in early, before he was anybody.
Well, I mean, I'm sure people listening have obviously they've either seen it or they haven't. Hit us up on.
It's usually one of the.
I was going in one direction. I thought I better backtrack.
Usually one of the two.
Yeah.
Well, they can let us know on Facebook. Drop us a comment.
There's only two kinds of people in this world: those who have seen May and those who haven't.
Well, Ben, would you like to talk about a movie that once again they may or may not have seen?
Could go either way.
Should be the new name of the show.
Yeah. 50-50.
You either have or you haven't.
Well, when I was trying to think about body parts
Yeah.
and which
You got distracted.
I got, just saw something shiny.
I'll be
Got
so
distracted.
disappointed if you didn't go with a dick.
I did. Well, in fact, I did. I've been meaning to watch this movie for a long time.
Yep.
Ever since I found out that it existed on VHS, and I honestly couldn't tell you why I never saw it. But now that I have seen it, I'm glad I did because it is awesome.
Yep.
It is 1971's Percy,
Yes.
about the first penis transplant
Yeah.
ever done, and it is like it's a
And it's a big transplant.
it's a
Oh.
big transplant. Well, it's funnily enough they kind of hint at it in Percy,
Yeah.
but in 1974 they did make a sequel called Percy's Progress, or in the US I think it was called Is It Big Enough? Where
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
they in that one it's played by a different actor, but the Percy character, but the whole joke is about how it's huge.
I've seen one of them, and I'll let you finish in a second. But I kind of felt like, in my recollection, that it's like an American version of Alvin Purple. Like it's kind of that kind of movie.
It is. Look, they both are. Look, this one was directed by Ralph Thomas, who is kind of probably most well known for doing all of those the Doctor in Charge, Doctor in the
Yeah,
House,
yeah.
all those Dirk Bogart movies from the 70s. And this is like very much like a carry-on style
Sure.
movie, although it does have the benefit of a Ray Davies from the Kinks doing the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is amazing. And it has, even though it's set in the 70s, it does have a very kind of 60s feel to it. But it's Hugh Bennett is the main character, and he's kind of like he and his wife is an actress. Their relationship has kind of gone a bit stale, and she's basically having an affair with some other guy and plans to leave him. But before she can, she goes off on a movie shoot. She's an actress or something.
Yeah.
She goes off on a movie shoot, and while she's away, and she's planning to tell him that she's dumping him. He's off. He's like a antiques dealer type thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's off delivering a chandelier to a apartment building, and at the same time, this guy is having an affair with Elkie Summer on like the 5th floor or whatever it is, and her husband comes home. So to kind of escape, she tells him to jump out the window, not telling him that there's no balcony or anything. So he jumps out the building of this 5th floor and lands on Hugh Bennett carrying the chandelier, and of course that shears off Hugh Bennett's junk, his Percy. And then Denholm Elliott, his name's Dr. Emmanuel Whitehead.
Just to class it up, put Denholm Elliott in there.
Yeah, and he's really good too. He's got a twinkle in his eye the whole time. The opening scene of the film is him on a talk show, like talking about, is like they're trying to explain what it is he does, and he goes, "Well, of course, we do and every time he says penis, they bleep him, and he gets enraged. And he goes, and of course, if we're talking about a woman's thing, then it's called a vagina, and it bleeped. Yeah, and he just goes, how the hell can I even do the operation if every time I even say the word, can't even. He just gets infuriated, and that's when the director of the show is like, my mother always called it Percy, and that's your hand clap moment.
I wanted to say to you, like, was this the movie that inspired the euphemism Percy, or did it take its name from the euphemism?
It's taken its name from the euphemism.
Yeah.
It's based on a book too, which is hilarious. But look, it's just a lot of fun. It's like very much in those kind of carry-on things. It's got a great cast, like Elkie Summer, Britt Eklund, Sue Lloyd, Sid Heyman, Janet Key turns up.
And do we see any dick?
You don't see any dick. You see a couple of boobs, like usually one at a time.
I was going to say, like,
boobs in a dick film.
In a pair? Or...
No. That's the thing. You don't see them in a pair. You
just
see
one and one.
One and one.
Oh, okay. All right.
You see one, and then 10 minutes later, there's another one.
Another one.
But they're all wearing some great outfits. Whoever did the costume design really excelled themselves. Whoever did the casting really excelled themselves.
They should have put one boob in part 1 and one boob in part 2. It's a good double feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the second one has like Judy Geeson and Julie Edge in it, so that's going to be is going to be amazing. I can't wait to track that down and watch it. That's come out on Blu-ray in the UK, I think. But Vincent Price is also in it. But Denholm Elliott returns. Hugh Bennett does not. Lee Lawson, I think, plays the penis transplant. But that movie goes on a kind of a weird tangent. Like to get away, because the whole thing is the word gets out that he's had this penis transplant, and it's in all the papers and stuff, and he becomes hounded by paparazzi who all want a shot of his Percy. And in the second one, he and his girlfriend, I think he by himself, which is odd considering how the first one ends, but he goes off to try and escape all the attention, and he disappears for a year. And while he's away, he comes back and discovers that a chemical has been released into the water supply and making all men impotent.
Yeah.
And so he's the only fertile man left in the world.
Now we're talking Alvin Purple territory.
Yeah. The government plan to use him to repopulate the planet. And they hold a misconception beauty pageant.
It's not a bad job.
It's not, but have you ever seen Sex and Zen?
Yeah, I have.
When because in that film, funny enough, I guess technically the guy in Sex and Zen is the first guy to ever have a penis transplant because he has a horse's penis attached, but then they literally they milk him.
It was Freddie.
They milk him to the point where he ages dramatically from the constant milking.
Yeah. He withers. He
He
withers.
withers. He withers on the vine.
Yeah.
Drained. The life's
right.
drained out of him.
Human sultana.
Oh, yuck.
There is no easy way to throw to Guillermo, so we'll just do it.
What's happening, everybody? It's Guillermo here again from ScreenRealm.com, Australia's favourite entertainment website covering all things movies and television. As always, here to tell you a little bit about what we've covered on the website in the past week. Kicking off with cameras officially rolling on Mad Max Fury Road spin-off, Furiosa. Chris Hemsworth shared the news on social media, sharing a picture of a film slate from the set. Director George Miller continues at the helm of the Mad Max franchise. This time it's a prequel set to be looking at the character that was played by Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road. The film will be following a young Furiosa played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Chris Hemsworth stars along with Angus Sampson, Nathan Jones and Tom Burke. No other plot details are fully known at this time. The film is currently scheduled to hit cinemas in May 2024. Longtime best friends Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery, who used to work together at the Video Archives movie rental store in California back in the day and would go on to win Oscars for their screenplay for Pulp Fiction, are set to join up for a movie podcast. The podcast is going to be based around the 8,000 or so VHS tapes and DVDs that Tarantino now owns from that video store. The planned podcast has been titled The Video Archives Podcast, and we'll find Tarantino and Avery talking about everything from, and I quote, controversial James Bond films to surprising exploitation flicks, in order to, quote, expose listeners to movies they didn't know they'd love, give awards to their favorites, and of course rate the quality of the video transfer. Tarantino and Avery said in a joint statement, "We never imagined that 30 years after we worked together behind the counter at Video Archives, we would be together again doing the exact same thing we did back then, talking passionately about movies on VHS." The Video Archives podcast is going to be available on Stitcher, which is owned by SiriusXM. Oh, and the release date, which I guess I should tell you, is July 19th. There's a remake of Frank Marshall's 1990 movie Arachnophobia in the works, and the director has been chosen. Set to take the helm of this redo is Christopher Landon, known for horror comedies such as Happy Death Day and Freaky. James Wan and Michael Clear are going to be among the producers under their Atomic Monster banner, with a screenplay to come from Don Jacoby, who had a story by credit on the original film, and Wesley Strick, whose credits include Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear and The Man in the High Castle. That about does for me, guys. As always, head to ScreenRealm.com for your latest movie and TV news, trailers, reviews, competitions, all that jazz. We've also got your latest streaming release schedules for Australia. Thanks so much for having me, everyone. Catch you next week.
Hey, did either of you catch that movie, The Collector, about 10 years ago?
Yes, but I can't remember it though.
The
I did see it,
WWE
but-
movie?
No. This
Collector?
was it was like Saw meets Home Alone.
Yeah, are you doing that?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
That was
no, I didn't. Yeah.
You weren't paying attention because the song we just listened to was from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Well.
was the WWE.
But The Collector was
Naughty me.
originally. It might be though, dude. It might
What
be.
It was like a Rey Mysterio Jr. type.
It may be. I do know that it was
I really can't
originally
remember it.
made as a prequel to Saw, so it's definitely got that kind of feel to it. But anyway, my point being that the song we did listen to just now is actually from the sequel to that movie called The Collection, and it's called Talk to Me by Porcelain Raft. You looking it up there?
I am.
It was supposed to have a third installment too called The Collected, but this is the funny part. Apparently the directors just lost interest and didn't make
Oh.
it. Yeah. It's like, is that a one way of saying that the studio didn't want it, or is that just
Yeah.
them saying, nah, this
I
can't
can't
be
be
bothered?
bothered.
Sometimes when you collect stuff, something happens and you just get over it.
That's
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what do I do with all this shit?
Yeah.
I thought they were really good movies, particularly the first one. The guys that made it, the guys that made the Feast trilogy, and they did Saw 4, 5, 6, and 7,
I liked Feast.
Piranha 3DD, and Scary
Piranha
Stories to Tell in
3DD
the
is
Dark. Oh, that is 3DD is fantastic. Good old Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Oh, can't beat it. Well, there you go. Bit of bonus trivia with your song this week.
Yeah.
All right.
Love me a bit of trivia.
Precursor to the
As long
trivia
as-
section
yeah.
later
I was
on.
gonna say, as long as I don't have to ask or answer the question.
Yeah.
I
Same.
love the
Same.
trivia.
I love trivia, except I'm just really bad at it.
Let's turn our attention to Melbourne Horror Film Society again, because the next screening is The Hand. And as we said earlier on, this is the third installment of your Severed Hand theme series, I guess you would
The
call
second.
it. What did I just say?
Third.
Did
I'm
I?
pretty sure.
Oh, far out. There we go. And I'm not the one drinking this week.
Kaiju. A delicious beer. It really is, though.
So, our focus interview this week is all to do with The Hand, which is a little banger. It's from director Oliver Stone.
The hand is a little banger.
Yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
if it's in a fist.
Yeah.
Second horror movie directed
The
by Oliver
5
Stone.
points are like fingers on a hand, and when I close that hand, it becomes a fist.
Do you know the name of Oliver Stone's first movie and / first horror film that he made?
No.
Malzy? Seizure. I'm laughing here because I told
Because
you.
we were just talking about it before we, yeah. I'm like, I can see it and I can't remember
Some
it.
extra trivia for you. Oliver Stone's first filmmaking experience after
Was
he...
seizure.
Hey!
After-
Point to Ben, yeah!
After he came back from the Vietnam War, was an assistant director on Troma's Battle of Love's Return. So he's a Troma alumni.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go. Anyway, The Hand.
Yes, The Hand.
It's a great little film. Michael Caine,
Yeah.
fantastic. It's a really cool spiral into madness, this film. Have you seen it before, or is
I
this
have
going to
not.
be your
No,
first?
no, and I do love not seeing things before
Of
our
course,
screening.
yeah.
So when we were going to start doing the podcast, I was like, I better start pre-watching everything so that I can talk about it. But luckily, you've mostly seen everything, so you can talk about it. But because I really do like getting that experience with everyone else when I can.
Well,
but...
I don't really have to talk much about it because I'm about to throw to my conversation with Andrea, I should say, Marcovicci, and she plays the ever-suffering wife to Michael Caine in this film. The things she puts up with this film are just horrendous, but exhilarating to watch on the big screen. Yeah, there's a bit of... nobody listening can see that you're doing a hand across the table.
I'm doing a little bit of cousin it.
I was just about to say cousin it.
So anyway, like I said earlier, I've been trying to connect with as many people from the Horror Society screenings as possible, and I'm always thrilled when they respond favourably, and she did. So here it is, my chat. Grab a cup of coffee, it's not too long, and enjoy.
What's the matter? Why are you looking at me like that?
Terror he could not forget.
You think I've done something wrong, don't you?
Torment he could not bear.
You think there's something in there, don't you?
Truth he would not face.
You want to see? Hey, take a look!
Michael Caine in The Hand.
Starts Friday at a theater near you. Consult your listings.
Hi, Andrea. What a trip it is to be chatting with you. Welcome to Good Movie Monday. How are you?
I'm very, very well. And very happy to be back in Melbourne. Thank you so much.
Oh, no. Well, great to be talking with you because I've invited you here to chat about The Hand, which is a movie that was made in 1981, or I suppose it was filmed, before that. It's hard to believe it's 41 years. Is it? I suppose it's...
Oh, damn. Oh, I never realized I was that old.
I suppose, is it a film that you think about much?
Sure. I was very proud to get that part. I fought for that. It was very exciting to audition for that. I happened to be, I was living in LA, but I'd gone home to see my mother in New York. And I auditioned first in New York, and then they flew me out to Beverly Hills to audition again. And I stayed at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Liz Taylor's suite. Biggest suite I've ever seen in my life. The living room section was as big as a football field. The closet was big enough for Liz Taylor. I mean, it was glorious. And I met with Oliver Stone again, and I had the part. I was given the part while just shortly after the audition. It was thrilling, just thrilling.
Yeah. It's such a great movie, and I think it's more than just a B horror movie like a lot of people sort of think it was. Do you recall sort of your response to the script back then? Did you see it as just a little horror film?
No, I saw it as a psychological thriller, and I think that's what Oliver wanted. He did not want it to be a horror movie, but some things happened in the movie world at the time. He wanted a psychological thriller. It would have been all black and white if he'd had his way. But at the time, all of these slasher movies started coming out, and Friday the 13th and things like that, bloody things. And the studio came down on him and said, we need more gore, we need more shots of the hand, we need this, that, and the other thing. His version had almost no shots of the hand. It was going to be all in Michael Caine's mind. And when I read the script, that's what I read. And they went back later and they put in a lot more shots of the hand scurrying around. Now, as you know, in 1980, which is when we shot it, we didn't have CGI. We didn't have all those fancy tricks. We had the man who created E.T., the puppet maker, and that's it. And there's only so much a rubber hand with a couple of strings attached can do. So I don't think Oliver ever made the movie he really wanted to make. And
that makes sense.
And I know I never got to make the movie I really wanted to make, which was much more emotional, much more about the relationship between my husband and myself. and his disintegration of his mental breakdown after losing his hand in the accident that I created. I was driving, right? I mean, it's 40 years ago. What do you want? No, I know. I mean, but the point was there was more to Plum as a psychological thriller than as a horror movie.
Yeah.
But the studio wanted a horror movie.
That all makes so much sense because I think at the time that he made it, Oliver Stone had already written Platoon and maybe Midnight Express.
Yeah, that was the direction he was going in.
Yeah, and they're films that have a lot of horrors in them as well, but in a much more psychological and dramatic sense.
Yeah.
But I do think, over the time, The Hand kind of plays much more like a psychological thriller now than it probably did.
Especially because it doesn't have classic horror in it. It doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's interesting too that Michael Caine, has been famous for saying that he made a few paycheck movies in his time, and he considered this one of them, which is just silly. But
he had a ball. He loved it.
Did you two get along?
Oh my God, yes. Oh, I mean, there is just nobody like Sir Michael Caine. If you were to say, who do you want to have dinner with of all the people in the world that you could have dinner with, you want to have dinner with Sir Michael Caine.
Absolutely.
He is a raconteur of such proportions. Now, I didn't get to have dinner with him much until we got to San Bernardino, where we were shooting the exteriors for the cabin sequences and the things in the woods and stuff. But we had a couple of weeks in San Bernardino, and yes, we all dined together then. And I was like a puppy. I just, more, tell me more. He was delightful. Ordering the wine, ordering the dinner, telling the stories. How could you just couldn't get any better. When we were in the studio in LA, Michael Caine could not leave the set fast enough because of Shakira. There was never an actor who loved his wife more than Michael loved Shakira. When it became time to go home, that cigar got lit. It was the martini shot. You could not keep him on the set another second. And when he was doing the off camera for me, like if it became 5:30 or so, there was smoke rising behind his head because he's gone. He's gone. He's going to leave. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter how serious the scene is. He's gone. He's a fascinating man. He taught me an enormous amount about acting. I learned so much from him. He could weep. A lot of actors say, oh my God, how do you cry? How do you cry? Well, I wasn't a good crier, ever. It would take me 15 minutes of looking at a picture of my dead dog. It was, and he said, that's so silly. That's so silly. Why do you do that? Why do you do that to yourself? He'd be in a sequence, and in between, he'd be making the crew howl with laughter and then go right back into the sequence. And I was astounded by that. And many years later, I learned that I had the capacity to do that. I just never trusted myself.
Yeah, wow. It's such a thrill to talk about, to talk to someone like you about someone like him, just to see that firsthand experience and how it's
and what a
you.
Gentleman, gentleman, and not a word of sexism in him, none of the, there were very small ways of Me Too.
Yeah.
If you get my drift.
I'm really glad you brought that up though.
Oh, well, good, because it wasn't always an actual suggestion or an attack it wasn't. It was always little things like, oh, don't worry about that, dear. Or you look tired, dear, let's break. I will never forget that on the front when Marty Ritz said to me, you look tired. It's a wrap. I look tired. I was 25 years old. I didn't look tired. They wanted to take a break. That's my version of Me Too. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No. Well,
But what I'm saying, there were small bits of sexism in different ways. Michael was the purest gentleman. Never the teensiest bit of flirtation. Because nobody loved their wife like Michael loves Shakira.
Yeah, and it's amazing you bring it up because I was going to talk about this, and I'm sure when it gets screened in Melbourne here by the Melbourne Horror Film Society, they will pick it apart a little bit as well. It's more relevant now, I think, than it was then because there are certain themes of, I guess, domestic violence and misogyny in the film. Were they as apparent then as they are now? Like, was his character written to be that way? Like, as in, it's perceived a lot differently in modern times, you know?
There was so much we weren't aware of. There was so much we weren't thinking of. There's so many scripts that probably wouldn't get made.
Yeah.
It's a different world and a good thing too.
Yes,
a good thing too. It's a different world.
It makes these films time capsules, doesn't it?
But it makes the films time capsules, but also this is a man who's going mad. So who knows how he would have behaved if everything had stayed the way it was and he had his art. I mean, take away the art from a person, take away their craft, take away their expression of their soul. You don't know what you're going to do.
Even before the incident, though, like, you know, he treated his wife, you know, fairly poorly. She wanted to get away from him and he wouldn't let her. You know, there's that kind of stuff, which that's what I'm getting at. I don't know if that was really something you... Yeah, exactly. And I like seeing that stuff in old films because it really does put a marker in time.
It puts a marker in time. It's absolutely true.
Something else that makes this film relevant is the fact that he's a comic book writer. So, you know, in today's world, that's not, you know, uncommon whatsoever. Interestingly, the guy that drew all the pictures in the hand, Barry Winston Smith, he was working for Marvel at the time.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And an interesting piece of trivia about him is he's the guy that wrote the Conan comics, and Oliver Stone went on to write Conan the Barbarian. So, you know, isn't that
There's
strange?
a lot of interesting things in that picture. And Annie McEnroe went on to marry the producer.
Yeah.
And Oliver was temporarily with somebody else on that film. I can't remember who. But, you know, it comes and goes. I did a lot of yoga, and I still do.
Well, look, you know, I would love to chat about this for a long time, but we are just about out of time. I'm just so glad that...
We can't be out of time until I show you this.
All right.
Can you get this in the frame?
Certainly can. Wow. So that's...
When he was given the AFI, I think is this the Life Achievement Award?
Yep.
I sang for him at Lincoln Center, and he danced to my singing with Shakira.
Amazing.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a personal letter from him signed that I keep hung up.
That is incredible. And that actually brings me to the point that, you know, you do so much. You know, you're such a rounded performer. Where can people find you online? Like, you have a website and
www.marcovicci.com. And there's a lot of memories there. We have an archive. There's a lot of music there, all of my CDs, and actually just a real, very well put together chronological history of the career and the things that I've done since I was about 16.
Wow.
I know I've been in the business over 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I definitely recommend that everybody go and jump on that website, have a look at it, and find you wherever you are on social media as well.
And I have no intention of stopping. I had an audition just about 20 minutes ago because we now do the auditions ourselves at home.
Yeah.
With Zoom. It's hilarious.
What a world we live in.
I know it's strange.
Oh, and it allows me to connect with people like you as well. And this is a film I've loved for a long time, and I'm thrilled to see it being screened down here in Melbourne. I think on June 28th. So everybody watching that is in Melbourne should get along to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yes, everybody go.
Thank you so much for making time for us. It's been an absolute thrill for me.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, and I have fond memories of singing in Melbourne. 5 nights. I loved it.
Good Movie Monday is made possible with help from Kaiju Beer. Unashamedly intense Australian craft beer.
This is Bonehead Weekly Fun Size, and we're going to talk about James's fingers and how magical they are.
That's not what we're talking about at all. However, we all are talking about body part films.
All right, so we're going to talk about other body parts on James that are just magical.
So, gentlemen, if you're talking about a film that is about body parts, I think you have to go to the real OG, Tom Schulman. Tom Schulman, most people know for this trite film called Dead Poets Society, which is semi-autobiographical. But most people forget he wrote and directed a film that is way more important, that involves body parts. It's about 8 body parts being put in a piece of luggage. You could call it 8 heads in a duffel bag. Did you know that was by the same guy that did Dead Poets Society?
No.
Of course you did, because the writing is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. The ethos, the pathos, it's all there, gentlemen. If you've never seen 8 heads in a duffel bag, that would star a certain Joe Pesci, Christy Swanson, and David Spade. And it is about a hitman who has conveniently 8 heads in a duffel bag. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I can't believe you didn't mention Diane Cannon and George Hamilton.
I don't have to mention anything. It was made on a budget of $3 million, which you would think after Dead Poets Society, they just would have wrote him $1 billion check, but it only made $4 million back at the theater. My favorite scene in the movie is, of course, where all the heads get together and sing.
Yep.
It's a great scene. If you've never seen 8 heads in a duffel bag and you're thinking, I want to watch a film with body parts and Joe Pesci, I can't think of a better film that meets those descriptions. Go ahead, whoever.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
All right, so mine is going to be the movie Body Parts. Now, the reason this is a little on the nose, as I was sitting here looking at the list, the reason I want to talk about it is because 1, I love this movie when it came out. 2, one of my favorite character actors of all time is Jeff Fahey. Never gets enough credit. It's another guy never gets enough credit. It's got Brad Dourif in it. 4, it's written and directed by Eric Red, who I've tried to get on this damn show a half a dozen times, who wrote Near Dark, The Hitcher, and made Body Parts. It's about a psychiatrist, gets in an accident, gets his arm replaced by someone who turns out to be white gentleman.
A serial killer.
This story is about as old.
I'm glad Chad went first. I was assuming a school marm.
Yeah, that's right. And then his arm's going all crazy. And the third act is where it goes off the rails because the serial killer's reassembling himself, ripping off the pieces that was taken away from him to put himself back together. I'm actually sitting here smiling about there's an explosion. You see the guy all bandaged up as he's running away. I've got it in my brain. It's probably not that good. I haven't watched it in a while, but it is called Body Parts.
All right. So Joe and James, they focused on the external body parts. So I want to focus on an internal body part, and I want to talk about a film that could only be made by the great people of Belgium.
Plumb near killed him, Joe.
Rectum.
Close. The Thingy. Confessions of a Teenage Placenta. It is a story about
the Supreme Court hear about it.
It is about the story of a female bodybuilder who gives birth to a normal baby, but she decides to actually raise the placenta instead. And it's all about this placenta coming of age as a teenage boy.
As placentas do.
Not only dealing with being raised as a placenta in a normal human society, but also a Christian and eventually a soldier. It is a wonderful film that could also only be brought to us by the lovely people of Troma. Can I just also mention a couple of scenes that it is almost, if you watch it, it is seriously just a really bad ripoff of Eraserhead.
Yeah.
And there is a lovely dream sequence where the placenta is moved, is the stone in a curling match, and the curlers are moving it slowly into a giant vagina with teeth. It is not a good movie. But I wanted to talk about it. The thingy, Confessions of a Teenage Placenta. There you go, people.
And with that, you've had Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
Chad's movie insists upon itself.
Man, 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, Ben. Haven't thought about that movie in a very long time.
No.
David Spade was in that.
Of course he was. Was he one of the heads? No.
No.
That's a shame.
It was a funny time when that came out. Do you remember there was a whole slew of movies that came out with really descriptive movie titles?
Yeah.
Like, because you had Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead around the same time. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I just remember it being that period of time after Lethal Weapon 3 where I thought, Joe Pesci's just going to be in anything.
Last week we talked about Gone Fishing.
Gone Fishing, that was around that time?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I just love that these movies always had like a little story in the title.
Yeah. It's like we have figured out that synopsises don't work.
This is how you.
No one bothers reading them.
This is how you pitch a film.
So you have to. Yeah.
That's it.
So what's the movie about? 8 heads in a duffel bag.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Sold.
So what's your second recommendation?
Well, look, considering that I talked about penises in the first recommendation, I thought I'm going to have to go. I have to swing it to the
left.
Well, yeah, I have to go to the other outlet.
Oh, the arsehole.
Yeah. Well, no. I don't want, because now you're not really allowed to talk about gender.
You've got to even it up.
I've got to even it up.
Oh,
right?
okay. I get where we're going.
And it was like I was, am I going to talk about teeth or chatterbox or pussy talk? If we're going to be really, obviously, I thought no, stick to the upstairs region.
Oh, okay.
Keep it
Stick to the notes.
Keep it to the notes.
It's about it's about theme.
Yeah,
it's on theme.
So I'm going to talk about 1987's classic action movie, Feel the Heat, or I think Catch the Heat is what it was called.
I do not know this one.
No.
It's an amazing film. It's directed by Joel Stillberg, who directed the fantastic Breakin' or Breakdance.
I know that one.
He also did Bad Guys, that wrestling movie, which is awesome with Adam Baldwin, and Lambada, but not Lambada the Forbidden Dance. He got involved in the Cannon War between Golan and Globus.
That's right.
I don't know if he chose the right side or not.
There's no wrong or right side to a lambada.
No, you can. No,
it's sexy whichever way you look at it.
Yeah. My father was a big fan of the music video, the Lambada music video, when it was on.
I'm sure he was.
I don't know why. I can't for the life of me understand why. It's like they're having sex, Ben, but they're dancing. So wait till the 80s. Actually, I guess that was the 80s. No, this film is great. It is basically it's like an undercover cop movie, and this stars Tiana Alexandra Silliphant is the lead actress, but her character name she's a cop. She's a vice cop in the city. I can't remember what city it's in, but her name is Checkers Goldberg. Right? she's a tiny little Asian woman, but her name is Checkers Goldberg. When she goes undercover, her name is Cinderella Pooh. Fantastic! Who wrote this? I don't know who wrote this. Fucking genius, though. Absolute genius. But she goes undercover. Somehow, these drugs are being smuggled into the country. They can't figure out how, but they know it's coming from Rod Steiger, who is runs this modeling agency in. I can't even remember. Like he's on some island or South America or something like that. And they can't figure out how he's getting the drugs in. So she goes undercover as a potential model, to find out how. And I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it.
Right.
So I apologize. But the way he's smuggling the drugs in you're not really watching it for the surprises, is genius. He convinces these models that what they need to be successful as models is a boob job. And while they're under the knife getting their breast implants, he smuggles the drugs in their boobs.
Yep.
And then when they come out, we're just getting our American doctor to fix,
Mm-hmm.
and they take the drugs out again. Sometimes the sacs burst.
Ooh.
And the women die, and that's how they kind of catch on to the fact that this is happening.
Cinderella Pooh's got her work cut out for her.
Brian Thompson drops up in this. Everyone loves the an acne scarred Brian Thompson. John Hancock, David Dukes. What a great name! Unfortunately, it's not David Dukes with an X.
Yeah,
he's not the guy from Bloodsport.
He's not Frank's brother.
But it's a fantastic film. Palace brought it out on VHS back in the day. I don't know if it's ever had a DVD release. Certainly not in Australia. Although I could be wrong. I'm sure somebody will stick it up on the old social media, proving me wrong.
I'm keen to look at the video cover for this because I reckon I'd know it if I looked at it, but it does not sound familiar to me.
It is just such a lot of fun. Like I was not expecting it to be as fun as it was.
Sounds great to me.
I'll see if I can find a picture of the cover for you.
All right. In the meantime,
I
will. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead with my first recommendation. So when I thought body parts, I just seized the opportunity to talk about something I have spoken about before, but I'm sure nobody paid attention to me that time, and they fucking well should have.
Sorry, were you saying something?
It's a movie I can't resist. It's a totally... he's bringing up that image. I know the image of the woman. I don't know the poster itself, though.
Yeah.
But that's a fairly...
definitely she looks very familiar.
There we go.
She was in Killer Elite.
There we go. Alrighty.
Just as a... little side bit of trivia.
So this movie...
Derailing Glenn's...
I'm talking about is a very tasteless R-rated exploit with a cast that is irresistible. It's got Bill Paxton, Judd Nelson, Wayne Newton, James Caan, Lara Flynn Boyle, Rob Lowe, Tony Cox, and Claudia Christian.
Are you talking about The Lion in Winter?
Open up your notepad and add 1991's The Dark Backward to your must-see list. This is phenomenal. This one, directed by Adam Rifkin, I should say, who's a real cultish oddity in Hollywood because he kind of bounces between all sorts of genres. He's been involved with lots of cult films. Psycho Cop 2. He wrote Small Soldiers. Detroit Rock City he directed. Underdog.
What a classic.
The Disney Underdog movie. Night at the Golden Eagle with Vinnie Jones. Like, he's such a weird character in Hollywood.
Psycho Cop 2 is the best of the Psycho Cop films.
But The Dark Backward, it's this really dingy, grotty little movie that kind of feels like a forbidden movie when you watch it. It's like, you kind of feel like you shouldn't be. But apparently he wrote this as a teenager. So it's from the mind of like 16-year-old Adam Rifkin.
Wow.
And it kind of feels that way. But the story is about so weird. It's about a loser garbage man played by Judd Nelson who has these dreams of being a stand-up comedian. But his problem is that he's not funny and no jokes land, right? But he just is determined to make it. He's over the top necrophiliac best friend, played by Bill Paxton.
Who doesn't have a necrophiliac best
That's
friend?
right. He pushes him to pursue his passion. And this is weird too, when Nelson's character just starts growing a third arm out of his back, suddenly he becomes a freak show attraction and discovers that that's going to help propel him to success.
Yeah.
And so that becomes part of his act as he's got three arms. And he stands like this and he's got a third one coming out the back. It's just so fucking weird.
What does the third hand do?
Nothing. It just sort of it's fully like erect almost. Like it just.
So he doesn't have control
it doesn't
over
move around. It just sort of,
okay.
It's because it's a cheap movie and it's a prop. Like
That's true.
But it's so full of weird characters. You got like talent agents and managers, which is where like the Wayne Newton character and James Caan sort of characters come into it.
Geez, Wayne Newton and James Caan are rival talent agents. Amazing. I want to watch that movie.
I mean, I would say it's like David Lynch meets Tim Burton if I was to sum it up. But I did look it up, and there's a quote from the Los Angeles Times on the poster, actually. It says it's reminiscent of Eraserhead, Pink Flamingos, and Brazil, a compellingly weird urban netherworld. That's a pretty good way to sum it up. But the best part of it is Bill Paxton. Whenever he's in a movie, I mean, he dials it up to 11 every time, but in this one he breaks the scales completely. And
fucking A, man.
There is a scene
Game
right
over.
at the start. They're both garbage men on the back of the truck, and as they're going through this sort of wastelandy kind of, I don't know if it's a dump or whatever, he finds a corpse and it's fresh, so he just drops his pants and fucks it. But it's done with comic effect, and it is just so you're watching it with your jaw on the ground, going, "What the fuck?"
Crazy love all over again.
Yeah, totally. But the best thing for me with The Dark Backward was the Aussie VHS artwork was the best. As a kid, it appealed to me. Once again, that big fat Aussie R rating on the front,
Very nice.
that sold me every time. And the fact that the poster was delicious, I'd do anything to have it blown up on my wall. It'd be fantastic. But
Then you end up watching a lot of Jeremy Irons movies that are actually quite boring. Why is this rated R?
I will take this over a Jeremy Irons movie any day of the week. So there's good news for people listening. That it is up on YouTube entirely for free, and the quality is really good too. So someone's obviously picked up a DVD because I think that's out of print now, and they've put it up on YouTube. So
But Catch the Heat is also up on YouTube. I should have said that.
there we go. So people are getting cheap entertainment this week.
Yeah.
Good Movie Monday is made possible with the support of people like Viewlorium. Viewlorium is a streaming platform for rare and obscure movies, and it's absolutely free. They also have a catalogue full of kids' flicks, classic movies, foreign cinema, and more. Visit viewlorium.com today to see what it's all about.
Come on, Millsy. Drop the percentage on those notes so I can read more. Turn it down to 98%.
We're back.
We're back.
I'm just going to just distract you two from that note
from the
session you're
notes.
having right there. So by the time 1974 rolled around, Sam Peckinpah, we all know him. Did I pronounce his name right, Ben?
Peckinpah?
Peckinpah.
It's Peckinpah.
Yeah.
I've always said Peckinpah.
Peckinpah.
Fucking hell.
Be more.
They
rocker.
talk about him.
Be more
They
rocker.
literally talked about him in last week's episode of The Offer because she's going off to shoot The Getaway, directed by Sam Peckinpah.
I don't remember his name mentioned. I remember The Getaway being in that.
They do talk. I think maybe in the episode before when she says we're supposed to be going. I thought you were coming with me to Texas to shoot the Sam Peckinpah movie. Ali McGraw. Just before. What I'm really disappointed about is that they didn't do the part where she goes off to shoot with him. She comes back, and there's that famous photo of Ali McGraw dancing with Robert Evans. And the caption in Easy Riders Raging Bulls is she was dancing with me and thinking about Steve McQueen's cock. You're like, why wasn't that in The Offer?
There you go. A little bit of promotion for Paramount Plus there. The Offer. Fantastic TV show. Probably the best of the year, I think.
I think so.
Excellent. Well, anyway. The Wild Bunch was one that he made that was very famous. The Getaway and Straw Dogs. But he made a neo-Western that not many people sort of saw, which was called Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Have you heard of this one?
Nope.
It's a banger. This is definitely a strong recommendation for me. It's the film that a lot of people accused Tommy Lee Jones of ripping off when he made that Three Burials of Milgiaga fucking Estrada, whatever the fuck that movie was. There's no way I was going to get that right.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean?
I know which one you mean. I can't remember what the guy's name is.
I think it's, Three Barrels of Milgiar Estrado.
Milsquado.
Which is why the poster had 3 burials written in really big fonts and the rest of it
Yeah,
really
that's all
small.
I remember is the 3 barrels.
And that was a real beauty of a film, but it was definitely a rip-off.
It's So three burials of Melquiades. Melquiades.
I think it's Milgiata.
Because it's QU, but I don't know what how they pronounce that in Spanish.
Well, that's right. It's like quesadilla. It should be quasadilla.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the premise of this one is
that's my most favorite dinosaur, the quasadilla.
This one is so good. It's about the daughter of a ruthless Mexican drug lord who falls pregnant, and the drug lord interrogates her with a bit of torture to reveal the identity of the father because he's furious. And she names Alfredo Garcia, who who was the father's protege. So he worked for the gang lord and he was sleeping with the daughter on the side. So in a fit of rage, the drug lord offers a $1 million reward for anyone that can bring him the head of Alfredo Garcia. And Warren Oates plays a guy that's down on his luck. He's an American that's working in a dive bar, or he's at a dive bar. And the drug lord's men come in asking about Garcia and his whereabouts, and everyone in the bar plays dumb. Like, they all know who he is, but they pretend they don't. And they also know that he had just been killed in a car accident, so he was already dead. Warren Oates seizes the opportunity to make a fortune and then sets about digging up the corpse, cutting off its head and then delivering it for the $1 million. But the movie then is like a road trip, and the whole movie is about him getting to the grave.
He's getting to know the head.
And it's so strange and surreal. It's a very dark journey, but there's a particular moment. You've seen this?
Where he drops his pants and fucks it. No. Sorry. Wrong movie.
You would probably have you seen the movie, because there's a standout moment where Warren Oates' girlfriend is practically gang raped by a bunch of bikers, but she agrees to have sex with the leader so long as he doesn't kill the partner, Warren Oates. But the lead is played by Chris Christopherson, and that's such a weird thing for me to see Chris Christopherson in one of these roles as like a rapey type, because he's always a fairly good guy.
Have you seen Vigilante Force?
No, I haven't watched that one.
Where he's the Green Beret. He comes to Jan Michael Vincent, like lives in this small town, but there's all sorts of corruption, and he calls in his big brother, who's a Vietnam vet, to come and help them sort out the problems, and it's Chris Christopherson. And when he gets there, he sorts out the problem, but then basically sets himself up, and he's worse than the corruption that was there before.
Right.
So Jan Michael Vincent has to man up, and that's the only other film I've seen where he has those kind of those vibes.
Well, this one, it's a really long and drawn out scene. I reckon it lasts about 10, maybe 15 minutes. But the payoff's great. Like, it does have a really good payoff.
The rape lasts 10, 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, pretty much, because it's hard to explain the way it goes down, because it's a lot of tussle, she's resisting, blah, blah, blah. But then when she realizes the magnitude of what's going on with the Warren Oates character, like they're about to kill him, she kind of has to agree.
Right.
Like, rather than, both get killed. She's like, I may as well take this one. But
I'll take it for
that is how it plays out. But the payoff is magnificent. And let's just say the bikies don't win. Right.
Right. I hope it's like House on a Straw Hill. That has the best. It's gonna sound so bad. It has the best rape scene I've ever seen in a film, where she completely turns the tables on them, because like they're holding her at gunpoint.
Yep.
And they're like, but she's got like these like psychic powers, and so he's like, turn her over again is the thing. But then she slowly kind of takes control of them and makes one of them shoot the other with the gun, and then turn it on himself.
Yeah,
it's just this amazing sequence.
Wow. Awesome. Back to my movie.
I've actually talked about 2 films.
I know.
For the third time. Third go.
I won't go on much more, but the complexity of the story is a little tricky to explain, so I won't do it. But the simple premise of looking for a corpse to cut off its head should be enough to entice anybody. And the fact that if you've seen that Tommy Lee Jones film, then go and watch this one, and you'll see where he got that inspiration for. But as far as Peckinpah is concerned. Peckinpah, whatever. I don't care.
Goddamn Peckinpah.
He began writing Straw Dogs. I think he
loves this is another movie with a dodgy rape sequence.
No, he began writing Garcia when he was making Straw Dogs, and when his next movie after that, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, tanked. It was a real failure at the box office.
Again.
Yeah, I know. That's when he thought, well, I've got to do something cheap, and that's where this one came from. Yes. Is there anything about any other movie you'd like to bring to the conversation? But apparently, also, this was the biggest inspiration for the Coen brothers in Country of No Men.
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. Yeah.
Fucking. Where's that kaiju beer? Fuck me.
Sorry, I'm drinking the last one.
Ben's giving me a complex after last week. Melzy, save me.
Okay, I'll try. All right, so my second recommendation, I did try to convince myself that I wasn't going to do this, but I had to just give into it because I am fucking obsessed with it. Pieces.
Yes.
1982, directed by Juan Piquer Simon. I don't know. Correct me if you'd like.
No. I'm not going to correct you.
Also made slugs.
I don't do that.
You're like, I know you're wrong, but I'm not going to say anything. All right,
Ben's eyes twitching.
Both of you. Also made Slugs. And
slugs.
Because I like to watch new things
it's
or
slags.
Do you remember Two Fat Slags? the Viz comic? Sorry.
But yeah, I just wouldn't be giving myself just, I just couldn't not do it. So anyway, so the film starts in 1942 in Boston. It was actually shot in Valencia in Spain, but we're told it's Boston. So, and it also doesn't really look like the 40s, but leave all logic at the door when watching this.
The kid's wearing a checkered shirt. Of course it's 40s.
So you've got
no idea Pieces was set in the 40s.
No,
only the opening.
Oh, the opening.
That's the Halloween thing.
So you've got a young boy. Yes, Halloween. Yeah, you've got a young boy in his bedroom putting the final jigsaw pieces together of a naked woman. His mum comes in and sees what he's doing and loses her absolute shit. She's smashing things.
She's an evil mother.
Yeah, she's smashing things up. She's going to set everything on fire.
Oh, she's going to kill him.
Yeah. The boy one-ups her and eventually starts hacking at her with an axe and then saws her into pieces, all the while making sure to finish his jigsaw puzzle because, priorities.
Yep.
We then go to the present day in 1982. And students at a Boston university are being terrorized by a chainsaw-wielding murderer. So rather than close down the campus, the dean enlists the police to set up extra patrols on the campus. Inspector Bracken also gets his wife in on the job, who's a former tennis player, like pro tennis player. She goes undercover as a tennis coach at the university. The killer is trying to recreate the woman from the jigsaw, taking the head from one victim, arms from another. The kills are amazingly over the top. Everything is over the top.
Totally.
So many random things happen through the film. Mary, the tennis pro, is attacked one night by a martial artist who then turns out to be a kung fu teacher at the college, and he apologizes after it, blames it on having some bad chop suey before running off into the night.
Not only does he blame it on the chop suey, he runs off by saying, "So wrong."
That's so amazing. And it just has nothing to do with anything. But apparently the producer was producing a lot of kung fu movies at the time. Just thought it would be good to bring in a Bruce Lee interpreter named
Bruce
Lee.
Lee. Yeah, it's Bruce
Lee from one of his other movies to do the cameo.
But I love the fact that this scene in particular, he does come out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but he fully assaults this
Yeah,
woman,
fully
right?
yep.
And just doesn't relent. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
boom.
yeah.
But then when he recognises the other guy, it's like, oh, so sorry.
Oh, so sorry. Bad chop suey. It's so racist and so fucking funny.
It's so racist,
oh my God,
it's right.
So like, oh yeah. Yeah, it goes over that line. Yeah. So Mary yelling, like she goes in, sees, one of the killings comes out. She's really frustrated. And she just stands there and bastard! Like, it's incredible. Like, so incredible. The over-the-top red herrings. Willard, the groundskeeper, with his wide-eyed leering and sneering, and I'm doing a face that no one else can see except for everyone in this room. He uses a chainsaw.
He's a great red herring, though. It's funny as.
It's amazing. But so we did a screening of this a couple of months ago at True North, and like what had me absolutely fucking losing my mind during this screening was like I'd forgotten, like I'd remembered all of those like major things, but I'd forgotten just how ridiculous the character of Kendall is. He's not that ridiculous, but the way that the film deals with him is so insane. He's just like this completely average student, but like must have like a magic dick that literally everyone wants, and the police get him in on the case and they're constantly turning to him for answers and information like, oh, Kendall would know. Oh, Kendall, what do you think about this? The lieutenant has only just met him and he says to his wife, it's like, I trust him. I stake my life on him.
I kind of find sometimes you don't realise how contrived and bad these things are until you watch them with an audience.
Yeah.
Because you watch them by yourself and it just, the film and it's like,
But that's literally my next line is it's the best party movie. It's the best group, like watch it in a group and it's just riotous. I
think famously there was a test screening which the audience reacted with laughter, which the producers are like, okay, well, we don't have the horror film hit we thought, but we've got a comedy cult.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
well, I've only ever seen it at Melbourne Horror Society screen.
Yeah.
That's how I've always watched it.
That's the thing. Like we wouldn't usually show something twice. I just want to show it every year now. But yeah, because as soon as we started doing the second, yeah, that's what I was thinking. As soon as we started that second venue at True North, that was one of the. We're just like, well, yeah, that bang, we're showing pieces.
Let me tell you why this movie now depresses me. Okay, so I knew you were coming to the show with this as a or possibly as a recommendation.
Yeah.
I got in the mood, so I watched it last night. Right, I adore it. But I thought I'm also going to wear my Pieces t-shirt whilst we record.
Yeah.
And I put my Pieces t-shirt on, and I remembered how fat I've gotten since I'm working at home. And I work from home now, so I don't get out, and I'm not as active. And I have stacked it on, and my Pieces t-shirt does not fit me anymore.
That is so
you should have
fair.
just worn it as like a crop top. Have it sitting, it's only you at home.
I don't want you looking at my notes, Ben.
I've been saying, because I love it, I love my horror dresses.
Yeah.
Like I just want to wear jumpsuits and horror dresses.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that's my goal at the moment, is just to be able to have a full outfit, to be able to, or like a full like wardrobe to be able to wear that all the time. And yeah, like having a Pieces one is like the ultimate.
So that's
but hopefully I won't then stack on the weight and then get depressed and then not want to watch the movie and all of, yeah.
If you wore a bodysuit, where would you put your notes?
Well, just can I just give you a bit of advice? So when you're doing a recommendation, just leave that little bit of room for Ben to come in with another movie and talk about. Because he didn't do it with you.
Well, I think because I do have such extensive notes. A, he doesn't really have the opportunity to come in, and B, he's a little bit distracted by the notes.
By the notes.
This
I'm
is where
just-
you
I'm
go.
reading
So
ahead.
that's a bit of advice for you, Glenn.
Okay. Okay. I will wear the Pieces t-shirt next week.
Yeah.
Far out. All right. Well, we're almost at the end of the show, which does mean we've got some trivia coming up in a second.
Trivia.
Some notable mentions. Now that you mention Pieces, it just crossed my mind that Resurrection is a very similar movie, but done in a much more sinister way. The Christopher Lambert film with was it Russell Mulcahy that directed that one? That's a banger. I should have done that as a recommendation if I hadn't already. I would have
But
done.
there are so like I've got this massive list that as soon as this was going to be the topic, would you like me to go through it?
Do some.
Oh,
I've only got 3 written down here.
All, but okay.
No, we don't have to stop and talk about every one of them.
No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to list them up.
Do it.
Titan.
Yeah.
Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah.
Dans Ma Pure or In My Skin. Boxing Helena.
Oh yeah.
American Mary. Fresh by Mimi Cave. And I only didn't do that because it's been talked on the show. And then I've got honourable mentions that are just like...
It's not just one list, it's 2.
So Xander's Eye in season 7 of Buffy.
Oh, my goodness.
Ash's Hand in Evil Dead 2. Rose McGowan and her machine gun leg in Planet Terror. And the incredible sideshow performers in Todd Browning's Freaks from 1932.
One never.
And nobody's talking about Soul Surfer. She gets her arm bitten off by a shark. No?
Yeah,
okay.
It's literally like everything that I've watched since this has come up. I'm just like this and this and the Amazing there was another note in there. I was watching the Amazing Spider-Man with my son. Growing back an arm.
What
so
about
much.
Monty Python's Holy Grail?
Yeah.
Gets all his limbs cut off.
All his limbs cut off.
Yeah.
Come here, bite your ankles off.
That's right.
It's a
Just a
bit.
flesh wound.
It's really like so many films.
Yeah, totally.
They have some kind of body trauma.
Yeah.
Body trauma.
Did you have any honourables?
No.
Okay.
Or honourables.
Well, you did bring up Addams Family before. That's an honourable.
Yeah, we did. Did it. I didn't eat gag. Cousin eat gag. We talk about Bound because there's a great scene where some fingers get cut off in there.
Yeah. Yes,
I love a good bit of.
Oh, Blood Simple.
Any Lucio Fulci film. There's always some good eye trauma in those. There's always like a prolonged sequence of a sharp point, someone's face coming towards it really slow before also slow, like it going right into the eye.
Yeah.
And it's like that scene in X where Martin Henderson stands on the nail.
Yeah.
And everyone in the audience is just ah.
Yeah. It's when they lead you up to it, you know it's coming. It doesn't matter if it's like out of the blue, like and it's shocking, but when they actually, you know, it's there.
It's like in A Quiet Place as well. They've got where she stands on
the thing,
on the nail, and that's all built up as
and
well.
the sun hitting the trap.
Yeah.
Did we see that together? I think I reacted with whoever I was with.
I think we
and
did
we were
see
both
that
like,
together.
"Fuck, that's the most blood curdling scream I've ever heard in cinema."
Because I had to watch A Quiet Place, the first one, before.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I hadn't seen it.
And it's funny because the first
I watched no movies.
The first sound that we hear in the movie is that scream, and it's
yeah.
like so blood curdling. Anyway, nice digression, Glenn. You're welcome. Now let's do some trivia. This is my favourite part of the show that no one else seems to embrace like I do. So
Hate it. Hate it with a passion.
Both disappointed and excited at the same time. You too. Fucking hell.
Well, because I'm so bad at it.
I'll just.
That's all right.
Well, I'll do the first one, and then
no one will know the
you
stuff
two
out of
can.
it.
Then we'll go Ben and Melzy. All right. So this one shouldn't be too hard. How many actors portrayed Pinhead in the Hellraiser feature films?
2?
3.
4.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you got the new female.
Never seen a Hellraiser film. Oh no, I have. I've seen Hellraiser 3. Yeah, right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Alrighty. Well, that was mine. First one. Ben.
Okay. What is the name of the cinema in Demons? They go to watch.
Oh,
God's
jeez.
sake.
No, I've got no idea.
It's like a famous. It's a famous cinema film.
Yeah, I know the scene very well. No idea what the cinema's
same.
called.
No ideas.
Nah.
All my questions are like this. That was the easy one. No. It's
the fact that they don't have 6 parts.
The Metropole.
Oh,
Metropole.
okay, yeah.
That's a great party movie too.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
So good.
We saw that at at one of the Astor Halloween
Yeah.
all-nighters about 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
I had to make a tough decision on the weekend. My niece came around. She's 12.
Yeah.
I brought her around to watch horror movies.
You were telling me about this, yeah.
Yeah,
How'd it
and
go?
it was like I had to promise my sister that we would like only appropriately MA 15 plus films. So in the end, like it was good. We watched The Fog, and then what did we watch after that? We watched something newer. I can't remember what that was. But then the third film that we watched, I was like, I wanted to put on Demons. So Demons is the perfect film for her. But then I thought, look, Evil Dead 2 is also a fantastic film. I'll put on Evil Dead 2. Like, I'm going to go R-rated, and then because even my sister was like, why don't you watch Evil Dead? I'm like, you know these are R-rated?
It's
I'll
run with that. Permission granted.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to put on Evil Dead 2.
You said it.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so how long did it take to shoot the Blair Witch Project? And I'll go with the closest answer.
Oh, shoot. Shoot. I'm going to say a week. 7 days.
3 weeks.
8 days. So yes.
Wow.
Glenn's got it.
That's because when I had the VHS back in the day, it was a double VHS, the American one, and it had like the making of on the other side.
Yeah.
And the fake documentary.
Mm.
Oh, good stuff. Good old videotape double packs.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one. In the 1988 movie Catacombs was released with a different title and is actually part 4 of which movie franchise? It sounds like a tricky one, but I reckon Catacombs, but in like most countries it was released as part 4 of a franchise.
Who's in it?
No one I know. But I can tell you that part 3 had Christopher Lee.
It's The Curse.
Yes, that's right. It was The Curse 4.
Yeah, that's
stretch. That's a stretch of a
I feel
title.
like
that
I've
one.
cheated now with that clue.
Nah.
And
number 3 was.
I can reassure you, I was never going to get it.
Well, because
you had your name was written all over that point.
Number 3 was called Panga, and then they sort of shoehorned that into
had
the
nothing
franchise.
to do with the franchise. No, none of them.
No.
I think after
They're just all a curse. Each movie has a curse.
Yeah.
That's as close as it gets.
All right, Ben, what do you got?
All right. Well, speaking of Evil Dead 2, who played undead Henrietta in the basement?
Yeah.
You were.
Ted Raimi.
That's
Yeah.
it. There we go.
Thanks, Glenn.
Well, you said it before I confirmed it. Good one. As you the only one that you both see, I'm wrong on all of the counts. You guys are ahead of me.
Oh,
you should enjoy this game.
Yeah, you're just doing it. You're just doing it to like get us into the game. He's like.
I'll let these dumbasses win.
Yeah. Then they might start appreciating this segment. Yeah.
I don't want to drop it.
Have these guys ever watched a fucking movie?
Yeah.
These
fucking idiots who invited these
Next week,
dickheads.
we're dropping the Dallas Sonia thing. We're doing a whole trivia episode.
Okay, so what's the name of the band John Carpenter was in with Nick Castle and
Coupe
Tommy?
de Villes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Wallace.
They do the theme song for Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Big Trouble.
See, do you like the segment more now? Well, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, we got one more, don't we? Was only 2 questions?
Yeah. Remember, that happened one other time, then I had 3. And
You're welcome to give me another one, man.
And then
if you like the segment that much, go for it.
I don't, but I will because
it's a tiebreaker, even though
I wrote
you're
my
ahead.
trivia. I wrote my trivia questions by getting Siri to make notes on my phone as I was driving.
I've still never used Siri.
Never?
Never.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Does your phone actually do? If you say, "Hey Siri,"
I
does
don't
it
know
do
if
anything?
it's Siri, but
Have you got?
Samsung has a.
This
has
is
a
great
thing.
podcast
It
fodder.
has a thing.
Gross.
So you do or you don't have another trivia question.
An Android phone. Dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Because I have better, it takes better photos because I have a child. I have to think about like that's.
It
yeah.
takes better probably. Does.
Yeah.
Despite all the promises, the photos on their phone are shit. On this one, on the iPhone.
That's why I
Okay.
switched.
My
Yeah.
third question, my questions are lame because I figure
We're lame.
You guys aren't going to get hard ones. No. What is the name of the author who writes the books in?
Stephen King.
Sutter Kane.
Close, yeah. In the mouth of
Oh,
madness.
you say what do you say?
Do you read Sutter Kane? I feel like I'm recycling these trivia questions from various Monster Fest trivia.
Yeah.
Hey, Mousy, we're going to have to wait another month before we see you again.
Oh, tears.
But,
Is that cheers or tears?
Tears?
No, it's felt like a long time.
It'll only be a 4-week month this time.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome back at any time, but I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Don't care how much fun he's had. Like,
I got my notes.
He never shows
I got
it.
my notes fixation. My notes fixed.
We get through for the next 4 weeks.
I'm fine. I'm good for the next
Ben,
4 weeks.
Alright,
you get to
alright.
see me next week, Ben, so, there you go. Silver linings.
You better show me your notes. Nick.
So we're going to connect this song to Ben's recommendation from earlier. This is King Missile's Detachable Penis.
Oh, nice.
Detachable penis.
By Ben.
I can't remember any of the other words.
Take it out, Ben.
It's been so long since I've heard it.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Have a good week.
I woke up this morning with a bad hangover, and my penis was missing again. This happens all the time. It's detachable. This comes in handy a lot of the time. I can leave it home when I think it's going to get me in trouble, or I can rent it out when I don't need it. But now and then I go to a party, get drunk, and the next morning I can't, for the life of me, remember what I did with it. First I looked around my apartment and I couldn't find it. So I called up the place where the party was. They hadn't seen it either. I asked them to check the medicine cabinet, because for some reason I leave it there sometimes, but not this time. So I told them if it pops up to let me know. I called a few people who were at the party, but they were no help either. I was starting to get desperate. I really don't like being without my penis for too long. It makes me feel like less of a man, and I really hate having to sit down every time I take a leak. After a few hours of searching the house and calling everyone I could think of, I was starting to get very depressed, so I went to the Kiev and ate breakfast. Then as I walked down Second Avenue towards St. Mark's Place, where all those people sell used books and other junk on the street, I saw my penis lying on a blanket next to a broken toaster oven. Some guy was selling it. I had to buy it off him. He wanted $22, but I talked him down to 17. I took it home, washed it off, and put it back on. I was happy again, complete. People sometimes tell me I should get it permanently attached, but I don't know. Even though sometimes it's a pain in the ass, I like having a detachable penis.